Hey guys, what's up? Today I wanted to introduce the mini version of my scar barrel. I wanted to come out with this just to produce a bit of option, because while the normal length I think looks pretty good on the full-size Caliburn, you might want something a little more compact for some smaller blasters, maybe like the Talon Claw or like a Retaliator style blaster. This piece offers the same functionality that the other Scar has with the internal adjustable locking ring. However, I did put some new features onto this guy that I will implement into the later versions of the Scar once I run out. So for starters, I put a little indicator on one side of the ring so you can line it up with the little size increment right here, and you can tell when it's centered, so you don't really have to worry about setting it up the first time, especially if you're buying the kit version. All the files and buying options will be the same as the other one. I'll put a link in the description down below. Another minor quality of life change is I switched to nubs. These will be on the newer versions of my other Scar barrel as well. So instead of having the little pointed teeth, these are a little easier to print, and then there's subsequent matching 8 extrusions on that side, so you can slide it in and it feels pretty nice when it clicks into position, locks in, and then you can lift it up to move it to the next one to adjust in your 1/8 increments. The last slight change I made was to the cap. Now it extrudes all the way to the base and matches up, so you can't over tighten the cap or potentially put too much stress on the layer line around here when you are going to tighten up your Scar to lock it into position. This one should be fine for the most part. I've tightened it pretty heavily on some of them just for testing, but I could see it potentially cracking in the future. So to avoid that, I beefed up a fillet on the inside of here as well as made it match. All the hardware is also identical to the other ones, so the setup will remain the same. You're going to put in your hardware on the bottom like the other video. Once you put in your 3 square nuts, you can then put in your 2 sets of screws all the way around. You don't have to tighten them all the way. And then just a reminder, the flat one goes at the top and the panhead one goes into the square nut. Then you just make sure the indicator is lined up with where the size is printed on the barrel. It should be pretty centered, so it's nice and easy. Then just take the string tool that's provided, put a loop of the 10-pound fishing line or whatever you want to use with it. Then you just take it, insert it through the barrel, hold on to the end of the loop, it'll pull the ends out, then you just put the strings through those 2 notches and then tie it off to that bottom screw. The only thing you got to really watch out for is making sure you don't pull the loop all the way through. You want to fit it into that notch like I've done here, and then you just got to repeat the process for the other 2 sides. The only other issue you might run into is if your strings get tangled, so you want to make sure they're nice and straight, not crossing each other when you pull it on before you finally tie it in, but other than that, should be pretty straightforward. You can trim the strings at the end for any excess, but I would just leave a tiny bit of a tail on there just so it doesn't pop out once you cut it off if you do too flush. The only other suggestion I would have for this guy is maybe putting the strings on a little more loosely. Not like a sloppy loose, but because these sections are much shorter compared to the 6-inch version, you don't want it to be too tight because then it becomes difficult to adjust. It still works in the same manner. You just grab this cap at the top, you lift it up a little bit, and then that allows you to turn it. And now that, for example, that's an 1/8 increment turn, you can do as many as you want. I would recommend not doing too many because obviously then the strings start crossing and whatnot, but for the first couple notches it should be fine. I know it's a little bit difficult to see on camera, but for example, that's a 1/4 turn in your barrel, so you can see that the strings are evenly distributed through the notches, and you should be good to go. Not that that really is going to come loose, but just to make sure, and to protect the end, you just screw on your cap. Don't apply too much pressure, although now it locks onto the body, so it's really difficult to do, and you should be a-okay. As always, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section down below. I'll do my best to answer. And in the description, you can find the links to purchase these if you so desire, or get the file sets to download and print your own. As always, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video.